All right, fellas, we're back with another Sunday slate. We have a big one. I have 6 plays for you today. Normally, I have anywhere from 4 to 5, but I feel great about these plays this week. Sundays, we have been killing it. Mondays, we've been killing it outside the last one. If you look at my Pick'It, which most of you guys follow me on Pick'It, if you don't follow me on Pick'It, use code BDGE when you sign up. Thursday through Saturday, red. Sunday through Tuesday, green. It's like every fucking week. So Sundays, we've been killing it. Let's keep rolling on Sundays. Let's keep putting off good days. Back-to-back, I think back-to-back 4 and 2 days. So we've been stacking good days on there. Hit a good parlay last week as well. Looking to keep building on that this week. And we'll have plenty of opportunity to do that. Let's hop straight into the bets. Let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Again, we're going to be taking all these bets on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use code BDGE when you sign up on Underdog. You'll get a free square Patrick Mahomes for half a yard. You'll get another free square that I don't remember off the top of my head that I will put on the video screen for you. So you have 2 free squares, and you will also get up to $1,000 as well to play with. Plus, you get profit boost. Plus, you'll get a no sweat bet. So you have a ton of opportunity here to make a ton of money. So we're going to keep taking advantage of that week in and week out. So let's hop straight into these bets, though. We're going to be starting in the Tampa game, or this might be my favorite bet. 63.5 receiving yards for Chris Godwin. I'm going to pull up my write-up right now. I have a big write-up on Chris Godwin, and we're going to go over a lot of stats, a lot of numbers for him because the Eagles suck for slot wide receivers. They're awful for slot wide receivers. And Chris Godwin has totaled the league in highs, in receptions, and yards across 17 targets when aligned in the slot this year. 14 receptions, 197 yards on 17 targets, the most in the league in the slot. The defense has allowed 11.3 yards per attempt to opposing slot receivers this season, the second most in the NFL. So again, bad defense versus great offense. Also, Chris Godwin's been targeted on 17 of his 48 routes in the slot. That's 35.4%. That is the most in the entire NFL. And Baker is targeting the slot on 43% of his passes this season, which is the second highest in the NFL. So again, QB's targeting because he's facing a ton of pressure this year. His O-line is not really as good. He's getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds on 57% of his passes this season. That is the second quickest passer rate in the entire NFL. So he's getting rid of the ball fast. He's looking to a slot receiver. Chris Godwin has lined up in the slot for most of these games. So Chris Godwin has been peppered. He's going to keep getting targeted. Philly gives up a ton of yards to the slot. He's also been aligned in a tight formation on 15% of snaps this season, which is third most among all wide receivers. They're using a ton of 11 personnel. I have a ton more in the write-up, so if you want to go see the full write-up, you can look in the Twitter that I have, or I think I might post it on Pick'It as well, so you can see it on there. Again, sign up on Pick'It using code BDGE. It's absolutely free. They'll give you anywhere from $30 to $100. But yeah. We can look at his props.cash. We can pull it up as well. If you're wondering what this site is, I get this question literally almost every single video, or I get DM'd. Hey, saw your video. What is this? It is props.cash that I'm looking at. It is a very popular site nowadays. We're not personally sponsored by it, but I'm sponsored by it. You can use code GUT25, GUT25, and you get 25% off your first month. But obviously, he's crushed this number, playing Denver defense, which is a tough defense, but now he's going to do a Philly defense, which allows the 18th most passing yards, and again, the second most receiving yards to a slot receiver this season. So Chris Godwin should be in pretty good shape here. If you look at the line history, it's only going up because Chris Godwin just keeps dominating. That's what this little white dashes are, is the line history of where his line was, now where his line is. And we're getting it 63.5 here. I feel great about that as well. Heading on to our next bet, wasting no time really here. Again, that was a lot of numbies just thrown at you, so hopefully you digested it well enough. But yeah, basic, bad in the slot, great in the slot versus bad defense against slots. And we're going to move on to our next game. I have no more for the Eagles side of things. I have nothing really I love there. Minnesota, Green Bay, I don't have any plays in there. Same with New Orleans, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Houston. None of these games I'm really targeting this week, but there are definitely some good shouts in there if you want to look at it. But this Rams-Chicago game has a lot of juicy lines that I'm going to try to take advantage of. Starting with DJ Moore to go higher than 55.5 receiving yards. We took this line last week. It cashed for us on a Hail Mary 44-yard catch by him. I don't think that's going to happen again, but I do think this could be big DJ Moore day, as it has been for every number one outside receiver that has faced the Rams this season. So far, the Rams, when facing elite outside wide receivers, not even elite, just good outside receivers. Juwan Jennings, 11 receptions, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns last week. Marvin Harrison the week before, 4 receptions, 130 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jameson Williams in week 1, 5 receptions, 121 yards, and 1 touchdown. So clearly they've given up a ton of yards to the outside receivers. Plus Keenan Allen, that's like the whole thing. Keenan Allen's probably going to be back this week. I expect him to ramp up. He's an old receiver coming off a hamstring injury. Those normally two things don't go well together. I think he's only going to see probably around 50 to 60% of snaps. And when he's limited or out, DJ has seen 99% of snaps and 96% of snaps. So I expect DJ to be absolutely peppered. He's seen 8, 10, and 10 targets, averaging 6.3 receptions per game. So he's going to have the opportunity that we like to see. The Rams are allowing the third most receiving yards of this season. And again, they've allowed those massive games that we talked about before. The run defense for this team looks better than what it is on paper. So I expect Chicago to have to throw the ball a lot more, kind of like last week, but not maybe quite to that extent. DJ, again, all those receivers that gone off were outside receivers. DJ's lined up on the outside this season in 75.7% of all routes, so you know he's going to be an outside receiver. I think this is going to be a great matchup for Caleb to take advantage of these young corners that are out there, this inexperienced secondary, and DJ Moore can have a massive day. As you can see, his longest receptions at 22.5 for a reason. I think he finally starts to air out the ball this game. The Rams have not gotten a ton of pressure this season, which bodes well for Caleb, who's had to throw the ball short because he's faced so much pressure. Unless they absolutely cook something up this week, which I don't think they will, they should be in pretty good shape. Caleb should be able to be a little bit more relaxed this game, and DJ should have a big day. Now, kind of pairing with that, it's a kind of a correlated play, but we're taking DeAndre Swift's lower, right? 36.5 rushing yards feels very high. If we go to the props.cash here, and I can quickly show you the DJ Moore as well. Again, he hasn't hit this versus Houston, versus Tennessee, two very, very good secondaries. Indianapolis, not a good secondary, 78 yards. And again, you see the snap counts. You see the targets here. He's seeing a ton of volume. You see the receptions, see the reception longs. He's going to see a ton of volume. It just comes down to if he can make the plays or not and how well Caleb can perform in this offense. And I think he's going to do much better this week. And we're going to head to DeAndre Swift now. His line is at 36.5. He's not come close to hitting this any of the weeks so far. Tennessee, Houston, Indianapolis. Houston and Tennessee, I can understand. They're harder defenses, sure. But Indianapolis was a cupcake of a run defense that DeAndre Swift struggled against. Now he goes to them again on a lower snap percentage. As we can see, his snap shares are trending down 70, 66 to 53%. And his rush yards just keep dwindling down. He's seeing the attempts 10, 14, and 13 throughout the first three games, but I simply do not think that continues, as it seems like they're trying to bolster up Roschon Johnson to take over the RB1 role, and I think that's going to happen this week. Swift is only averaging 1.9 yards per carry, which is just fucking god-awful, like so goddamn bad. He's broken 0 tackles this year. He's run into DJ Moore than he has broken tackles. It's bad. I think he's going to see around 40% of snaps. Attempts are probably going to go down from 10 to 13 a game to probably around 7 to 10 a game. And again, this Rams rushing defense looks bad on paper. They're the second worst rushing defenses, but they faced the Lions. Obviously, a super run-heavy team. Monty, Gibbs, anyone's going to give up big games to them. They also had so many injuries in that game. James Conner in week 2, again, another player who just gets absolutely fed in a blowout. It just didn't look good for that. And then Jordan Mason last week in the San Francisco running offense, which no one can really contain. Like, those are 3 very, very, very hard matchups. Now they go against a Chicago team who their front 3 between their centers and guards are god-awful. DeAndre Swift absolutely sucks and can't read a hole. And I think this could be an easy under against a Rams defense that feels a little bit underrated now that they're finally getting some guys back from those injuries that happened earlier this year. So, again, that's pretty much all I have for the Rams and Chicago side of things. Now, again, Tutu Atwell's an interesting play here. Like, his longest reception line at 18.5 feels juicy as he's hit this the past 2 games without Cooper Kupp. He's also been in motion the most out of any of the Rams receivers without Cooper Kupp in the lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see that line. Not a play, but it's definitely lean if you want to take it. I think it's a good spot. But we're going to head off the Chicago game, head into the Carolina game, and we're going to take Chuba Hubbard higher than 60.5 total rushing yards. This line feels fantastic to me, right? Pretty much, again, Chuba had a massive game last game. We can go to his props.cash real quick, just so you guys can see it on your screen. They're playing Cincinnati, who is a bad rushing defense, allowing the 8th most rushing yards this season. Chuba is going to go off. He just exploded 21 attempts, 114 yards, and a touchdown last week. He had 64 rushing yards against a hard Chargers defense. And now this offense looks very legit with Andy Dalton at the helm. Now, again, there's probably no Deontay this week. That could be a big problem. He has a hamstring injury. We don't know, or a groin injury, excuse me. We don't really know where he's going to be at. That could affect the passing game. But for the rushing attack, this Cincinnati defense looked good against Washington. Washington didn't just pay $150 million to their first top 2 guards. They didn't have a solid center. They didn't have 2 very, not good, Icky's been kind of ass, but very solid tackles as well. This rushing game looks to be good. We rank really well. Chuba's rushed for 64 of his 114 yards in week 3 between the tackles, and I think he's going to keep that up against a Cincinnati front that has no starting defensive tackle healthy. So they're going to be playing their backups. Now, again, last week they looked great against Brian Robinson. Will it happen again with Chuba? I think so. As right now, based on all of the guards in the league, Robert Hunt's 10th best run grade. Damian Lewis, the other guard, has the 25th best rushing grade. Chuba Hubbard this season also is playing his best, recording an 80.5 rushing grade so far, which is 6th in the entire league, holding a running back overall grade of 5th this season. That's according to PFF. He should have a great matchup today against this banged up Bengals defense. It should be a sneaky shootout of a game. Andy Dalton's been looking great since he's going to have to throw the rock, I think. And this could be a pretty high-scoring game. I think Carolina's going to want to try to control the clock. Chuba Hubbard is going to be the guy to do that this week. And you can get his line at 60.5 on Underdog, which is where we're going to take it ourselves. Now we're going to head into our next game for our 5th pick. We're not going to do a Pittsburgh-Indianapolis play. There was a few plays that I kind of liked in that game, but nothing really to make an official play. We're going into Denver versus the Jets, and we're taking an under here. Garrett Wilson. I got him under at 55.5 receiving yards. We can get him right now at 54.5 receiving yards. This line's probably only going to go lower because of a cool guy named Pat Surtain. That could be literally all I have to say this video, and you'd understand the point. Pat Surtain this season has been absolute clamps. He's aligned over the top receiver on teams in 65% of snaps, being in a deep man and zone coverage, pretty much icing that player out of the entire game. Surtain will line up against Garrett Wilson today. He's going against DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Mike Evans, and has been targeted 1 total time. On that target, he allowed Mike Evans to get a single reception for 8 yards. Garrett Wilson played a Christian Gonzalez earlier this year in week 3. Christian Gonzalez is a solid corner. He's going to be a great young guy, up and coming for sure. He's no Pat Surtain, though. And in that game, he got shadowed for most of that game and only caught 4 balls for 25 yards. Also, it is very clear as day if you watch these Jets football games. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are just not on the same page right now, and it is clear as day. They're missing back shoulder balls. They're missing fade balls. Like, there's clearly that there's something off here with the chemistry. Now he goes against a Pat Surtain led Denver Broncos defense. It is going to be a very tough matchup. He hasn't been hitting this line consistently, and I don't think he does it. Okay, I can pull it up just so I can give you the visual of him not hitting this consistently. But so it's going to be a tough matchup now even more. Yeah, he's like barely hit this over Tennessee. He barely hit this over against San Francisco. Didn't hit it against New England. And now he goes Pat Surtain, Denver defense, who's absolutely shut down teams. And I think he will again today, especially because like the Jets really don't have another great receiving threat. Like, you're just pretty much playing for Brees and Braylon. You just line Surtain up against Wilson the entire game. You have to rely on Lazard and Conklin. Mike Williams, maybe. Like, I think that's going to be probably their game plan throughout this entire game. And Pat Surtain, sadly, will lock up one of the best receivers in the entire league in Garrett Wilson. Yeah, it's a tough call, but it has to be made. So we're going to take that lower here today. Moving on, that's the only play I had in that game. Now we can keep it pushing. We have one more play, and that is in Arizona. Kyler Murray is going to throw for more than 230.5 passing yards. Absolutely love this line, as so far Kyler has been cooking. Kyler's had a great season so far. We can adjust this line down to 230.5. Not that it makes much of a difference. He went under this against Detroit. Again, they were behind most of the game, but they wanted to try to establish a run game. Didn't really happen. This whole game script was really rough. Detroit really just played it too high over-the-top coverage, trying to make it so Marvin Harrison didn't see a massive game, and that helped. And that really pretty much neutralized their passing attack and held Kyler Murray under. Also, Trey McBride got hurt at the end of the game. He also had some great passes that were just dropped, which, again, really hurts. He hit over against LA. I think he's going to hit it over again today versus a Washington team that is absolute Swiss cheese versus the passing game, allowing the second most passing yards per game and they just allowed Joe Burrow to absolutely go off over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. They allowed 289 yards and 4 touchdowns to Baker. They allowed 178 yards and 2 touchdowns to Danny Dimes. Now, again, it's Danny Dimes, so that's the one game that went under. But again, this Cardinals passing offense has been cooking as they're ranked number 5 in deep passing, number 1 versus no blitz, number 2 in short passing, and Kyler's thrown past the sticks in the 6th highest rate in 2024, which is 43% of the time. So he's going to have to be taking those deep shots. Not only that, but Kyler destroyed that Rams defense on vertical routes. If you remember, Marvin Harrison had 4 vertical routes, all of them bitches. Huge, massive game. Over 130 yards in that game. The Commanders allowed 28 touchdowns on vertical routes since the start of last season. That is 10 more than any other defense in the entire league. Then I'll say that again. The Commanders defense allowed 28 touchdowns on vertical routes, deep shots. Since the last season, 10 more than any other team. They just gave up 2 to Jamar Chase last game. This could be a very similar theme, and it happened to Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler right now is playing at his elite level as his 2nd best PFF grade and the 6th best passing grade in the entire NFL for quarterbacks. Kyler's playing out of his mind. This Cardinals offense looks like they're moving right now. I think they're going to lean into the passing game this week versus a Commanders team that's horrible against the pass. And Marvin Harrison should cook. Kyler Murray should cook. And if there's no Trey McBride, I still like this line. With Trey McBride, I like it more. Without, I still like it where it's at. I think Kyler can have a big day, big Michael Wilson day. But I think this overall Cardinals offense will have a lot of steam, and Kyler will be able to make it happen as he did against LA. But those are my picks. We got 6 of them. If you want to tail them on Pickett, you can. Use code BDG when you sign up. They'll literally give you $3 to $100 for free. So you'll be able to do that as well. If you want props.cash, use code 25. And when you're on Underdog to get free lines, free plays, free bets, use code BDGE when you sign up. You'll be able to get all the fun shit and be able to pair all these to try to get a good start on your betting bankroll. Again, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, Garrett Wilson, and Kyler Murray are the guys we are betting on for this week. Let me know who you guys are betting on in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like on your way out. It's absolutely free to show some love. Make sure to subscribe as well. And I will be catching you guys for the preview tomorrow on Sunday morning. It's normally me, J-Mo. I think Tony and Nick should be there. So we should have all 4 of us there on the couch, yapping it up, talking about pre-game plays, the best matchups we like, the things we're looking forward to most, all on that pre-game show. So I'll catch you guys there. And appreciate you guys for watching. Peace.